The world watched with a mix of shock and apprehension in late May and early June of 2025. Ukraine unveiled a daring and sophisticated military maneuver, codenamed Operation Spider. This was not just another skirmish in an already brutal conflict. It was a significant escalation, a bold statement of capability and intent. Over 100 advanced, long-range drones were launched in a coordinated offensive. These unmanned aerial vehicles, symbols of modern warfare's changing face, were aimed deep within Russian territory, targeting critical military airfields. The sheer scale of the operation caught many international observers and, well, seemingly Russia's air defenses, completely by surprise, signaling a new, unpredictable phase in the ongoing war. The operation demonstrated a level of planning and execution that few had anticipated from Kiev. The impact of Operation Spider was immediate and substantial. Reports quickly emerged detailing significant damage inflicted upon Russian air power. Ukrainian sources claimed that at least 41 Russian warplanes were hit, with some reports suggesting over 40 were destroyed. While a United States assessment indicated around 20 warplanes were impacted, with approximately 10 destroyed, the message was clear. Ukraine could now reach far beyond the front lines. Among the targets were prized Russian early warning aircraft, crucial for surveillance and command, as well as nuclear-capable bombers, raising alarms globally. Some of these audacious strikes occurred over an astonishing 3,000 miles from the established conflict zones, a testament to Ukraine's growing technological prowess and strategic reach in this protracted war. What made Operation Spider particularly noteworthy was the ingenuity behind its execution. Ukraine showcased remarkable innovation by employing containerized mobile drone launchers. These launchers were cleverly disguised as ordinary recreational vehicles, or RVs, allowing them to be moved and positioned covertly before launching their devastating payloads. This tactic highlighted Ukraine's adaptability and its ability to leverage asymmetric warfare techniques against a numerically superior adversary. The success of these disguised launchers pointed to a new challenge for Russian intelligence and air defense systems, which had evidently failed to detect or neutralize these mobile threats effectively. This clever approach underscored the evolving nature of combat in the 21st century. The element of surprise was a critical component of Operation Spider's success. It later became known that even Ukraine's key allies, including the United States, had no advance notice of the specific timing or scale of this ambitious operation. This operational secrecy underscored Kiev's determination to act decisively and independently when it perceived an opportunity. Alongside the airfield strikes, Ukraine's military also reported successful attacks on Russian missile systems in the Bryansk region. They claimed one launcher detonated spectacularly, and two others were significantly damaged. These coordinated efforts demonstrated a comprehensive strategy to degrade Russia's offensive capabilities from multiple angles, sending a clear message about Ukraine's resilience. In the aftermath of Operation Spider, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky took swift action to recognize the architects of this bold offensive. He awarded secret medals to the commanders responsible, a move underscoring the high stakes and the significance of the operation's success in Kiev's eyes. Zelensky's public statements were resolute. He declared, "A ceasefire was possible. Russia chose war, placing the blame for the continued conflict squarely on Moscow." He further characterized Russian President Vladimir Putin's aggressive posture and rejection of peace initiatives as a middle finger to the international community's hesitation and perceived weakness. This strong rhetoric aimed to galvanize international support and paint Russia as the primary obstacle to peace. On the other side, the Kremlin was reportedly seething with anger. Russian President Vladimir Putin did not wait long to express his fury and promise retribution. In a surprise phone call on June 4, 2025, with former U.S. President Donald Trump, their first such conversation since May 19, lasting a notable 1 hour and 15 minutes, Putin very strongly vowed swift and devastating retaliation for the Ukrainian drone strikes. He unequivocally stated that Russia will have to respond. Furthermore, Putin firmly rejected any peace overtures or direct talks with President Zelensky, contemptuously referring to such potential negotiations as talks with terrorists. This hardened stance signaled a deepening entrenchment and a rejection of diplomatic solutions from Moscow's side. True to Putin's ominous words, apparent retaliatory strikes soon followed. Russian drone attacks targeted Pryluki in the Chernihiv Oblast of Ukraine. These strikes tragically killed 5 people, including 2 women and a 1-year-old child, and left 6 others injured. Residential houses bore the brunt of the damage, indicating the indiscriminate nature of the response. Simultaneously, shelling in the Russian-occupied Kherson region caused a critical substation to lose power. This resulted in over 120,000 people being left without electricity and vital water supplies, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis in the occupied territories. These actions appeared to be a direct and brutal answer to Ukraine's successful drone operation, demonstrating Russia's willingness to escalate. President Zelensky continued his impassioned appeals to the international community, warning of the dire consequences of inaction. He cautioned that those world leaders who fail to stop Putin now will inevitably own his crimes tomorrow. He argued that any hesitation to act decisively against Russia would make the global community complicit in the ongoing atrocities and the potential for further escalation. Zelensky also criticized past negotiation attempts, stating that none had brought reliable peace or managed to halt the relentless progression of the war. He vehemently called for increased and more robust international pressure on Russia, urging for concrete actions rather than mere condemnations or delayed diplomatic efforts. The phone call between Russian President Vladimir Putin and U.S. President Donald Trump, who was in office as of June 2025, added another layer of complexity to the already fraught diplomatic landscape. Following their lengthy conversation, Trump took to his social media platform, Truth Social. He described the call as good, but crucially, also far from hopeful. He explicitly stated that it was not a conversation that will lead to immediate peace. These candid remarks from President Trump cast significant doubt on the viability of his own administration's ongoing ceasefire efforts. The world, desperate for any sign of de-escalation, found little comfort in this assessment from a key global leader involved in the mediation attempts. The nature of President Trump's comments fueled growing whispers within Washington, D.C. political circles. Speculation mounted that Trump was nearing his personal red line, a point at which he might decide to walk away entirely from the challenging task of brokering peace between Russia and Ukraine. Such a withdrawal could have profound implications. Most notably, it could potentially lead to a cut in U.S. aid to Ukraine. This financial and military support has been a lifeline for Kiev, and its cessation could dramatically shift the balance of power on the front lines, possibly in Russia's favor. The uncertainty surrounding future American commitment added to the overall instability. The broader diplomatic situation appeared to be, as many commentators described it, on ice. Recent talks held in Istanbul between Russian and Ukrainian delegations, which Putin himself had termed useful, ultimately yielded no tangible progress toward a lasting peace agreement. The chasm between the two sides' core demands remained vast and seemingly unbridgeable. Adding to the diplomatic murkiness, Russia's foreign minister claimed that Zelensky had refused a Russian proposal for a short 2 to 3 day pause in hostilities. This pause was purportedly to allow for the recovery of bodies, but Zelensky dismissed it, suggesting it was not a real ceasefire offer, but rather a tactical ploy by Moscow. Beyond the immediate Russia-Ukraine crisis, other geopolitical undercurrents were at play. The Putin-Trump call also reportedly touched upon Iran's nuclear program, with President Trump accusing Tehran of slow-walking their decision and discussing Russia's potential role in future nuclear negotiations with Iran. Separately, reports indicated the U.S. was denying air cover to a proposed European force intended for post-war Ukraine, hinting at complex future security arrangements. Meanwhile, Ukraine and the United States were working to operationalize a significant minerals fund by the end of 2025. This agreement, signed in April 2025 after challenging negotiations and heavily promoted by Trump, was moving forward, with its first board meeting anticipated in July 2025 involving high-level officials. The events surrounding Operation Spider undeniably signify a major escalation in the conflict. Ukraine's ability to strike deep within Russia, coupled with Putin's furious vow of retaliation, has pushed the situation into a more dangerous phase. Diplomacy, already struggling, now seems to be on life support, with the risk of a wider, more encompassing war increasing daily. The slow, often hesitant diplomatic maneuvers by international powers appear to be exacerbating the crisis rather than alleviating it. Each delayed decision, each missed opportunity for unified international pressure, seems to embolden those who prefer conflict over negotiation, making the path to a peaceful resolution even more difficult to discern. These high-stakes geopolitical developments have profound implications for ordinary people far beyond the immediate conflict zone in Eastern Europe. The continuation and potential expansion of the war threaten global stability, disrupt supply chains, and contribute to economic uncertainty worldwide. The specter of a wider conflict involving more nations, potentially even NATO members, carries with it the terrifying possibility of unimaginable human suffering and destruction. The ripple effects of this war are already being felt in energy prices, food security, and the displacement of millions, a stark reminder that in an interconnected world, no major conflict remains truly localized for long. The world now stands at a critical juncture. The audacious success of Operation Spider, while a tactical victory for Ukraine, has undeniably poked the bear, leading to a hardening of Russian resolve and a promise of severe repercussions. These events could very well be the spark that ignites a wider, more devastating conflagration, drawing in other nations and escalating the conflict to levels not seen in generations. The rhetoric from all sides has become more inflammatory, and the space for compromise appears to be shrinking with each passing day. The international community watches, holding its breath, as the situation teeters on a knife edge. Ultimately, the question that hangs heavy in the air is whether peace can still be achieved, or if the world is inexorably heading towards a larger, more catastrophic conflict. Can cooler heads prevail? Is there a diplomatic off-ramp that has not yet been explored, or has the cycle of attack and retaliation now gained an unstoppable momentum? The actions taken in the coming weeks and months by leaders in Kiev, Moscow, Washington, and other global capitals will be crucial in determining the answer. The hope for peace, however faint, must be kept alive, even as the drums of war beat louder.